Here are 3 FPL transfer tips that you need for Game Week 4. Let's get into it. Okay, so we'll start with Ollie Watkins, who a lot of people were frustrated with after the opening 3 game weeks, but I do not think that now's the time to be selling him. He's got back-to-back home games against Everton and Wolves, who are bottom and second bottom for goals conceded this season. That's then followed by Ipswich away, Man United at home and Fulham away. Now that is a great run of fixtures for an attacker, and I can understand why people are frustrated with Watkins after the first 3 game weeks because he has missed a lot of chances. But really, a lot of people weren't expecting Watkins to return against Arsenal. So on paper, he's had 2 good fixtures and he's got 1 return, which is not too bad, but I guess people are expecting more from a 9 million forward. But with all that said, Aston Villa are 4th for expected goals in the league this season. In this week's fixture, they're playing Everton, who have the 2nd worst expected goals against this season. Watkins has got 0.76 per 90 in his first 3 fixtures, which is really good. Now he's currently flagged, so I'd probably wait for Friday's press conference before bringing him in. But I've got to say, I'm convinced he starts that game and he's a great option for the next 4 or 5 game weeks. Okay, so next up we have Cole Palmer, who's also currently flagged, although that was only precautionary from the looks of it. And he's another player with upcoming fixtures that are just a bit too good to miss. This week he's coming up against Bournemouth, and for all their good attacking play going forward, going the other way, they do seem to concede a lot of sloppy goals. They're the 7th worst in the league for expected goals against, while Chelsea are 5th for expected goals scored. It's worth noting that this fixture did finish 0-0 last season, but I can't see the same happening again this season. Okay, so finally I'm going to go for Danny Welbeck. Now, a lot of people have looked at João Pedro instead, myself included, but really that's only because João Pedro has penalties. I do actually think the goal threat is slightly higher with Danny Welbeck. He's got 0.5 expected goals per 90 compared to João Pedro's 0.36, and when he plays he usually pushes João Pedro wide. Ipswich at home is a really good game for him, and Brighton are 6th in the league for expected goals, while Ipswich are bottom of the league for expected goals against. His ownership is also a bit lower than João Pedro, so if you want someone a bit more differential, I'd go for him this week. The only reason I went for João Pedro for my team is because he had penalties and he was only 5.5 at the time that I bought him. So that's my transfer tips for game week 4. But if you're someone that's wildcarding this week and you want a little bit more guidance, you need to know everything that we learn in game weeks 1 to 3.